Welcome to Legit Crypto Lounge, everyone. Here with another AMA today. Today we're joined by Adrenaline Token, and we've got Kris Duffy on the team, who's presenting the token to us and the utility behind everything. So what we usually do, Kris, is just start off with you giving a bit of an introduction to yourself, your experience, kind of what you're bringing into the token, past experiences, any real life experience that you're bringing in, and anyone else in your team you might want to give a brief introduction about.
All right, no worries. I think real life, what's that? I think we all left real life, didn't we, when we joined crypto? Yeah, thanks for the intro, and welcome everyone. Thank you for taking your time away from your days to listen in. So yeah, my name's Kris Duffy. I live on the south coast of England. I'm 44, and I've spent most of my life working for banks, the real banks, not the kind of crypto stuff with financial stuff we're seeing coming through. Mainly as not on the finance side necessarily, but kind of project and program management. So most of my career has been spent working for various different companies, pulling teams together. I do a lot of project planning, so it's kind of like scheduling and planning work, and kind of helping crash teams together to get projects delivered. So about a year and a half ago, I thought try my luck with crypto and start bringing some of my skills into the crypto space. And yeah, fast forward and here we are. I now own my own token. This is my second one, and it's Adrenaline. So yeah, it's exciting. After 20 years doing what I do, I was looking for a change, and I must admit, as fraught as crypto is of ruining sleep patterns and the trials and tribulations of emotions that go with crypto, I've never been more excited to be getting up in the morning and opening my laptop to see what sort of challenges await me in the crypto space of being a token owner. So yeah, so the little screen you've got showing up on there has got James. James is my partner. So I'll just give you, because I know you want to run your own sort of direction, but I'll just give you a very brief dummies guide to what Adrenaline is. So the other person you see there, James, is my business partner, because we're a kind of mix between TradFi and DeFi. So we are partnered with a real world financial company, an investment firm called Sandrock Capital, and they have a website, sandrock.uk. They've been in business for just over 2 years, and they're an investment firm. They have automated asset trading bots, and they do forex trading, commodities trading. They do various bits and pieces, and they're going to be expanding from September onwards with their own trading academy, which I'll say that carefully. So they're going to be training up people on how to trade safely and kind of get into the world of proper trading. So the Adrenaline token, my background being finance and my previous token being an investment kind of company, we've launched Adrenaline with 2 objectives, because there's kind of 2 parts to the program which are kind of very separate from each other. The first one is a token, and we all know tokens. We all love the kind of normal kind of part of DeFi. So we've got 3 streams of income. The whole point of it was that it wasn't dependent upon people selling their tokens to make money. So we've got 3 streams of passive income, which are automated ETH reflections. We're an Ethereum based token. So the first one is we've got a very straightforward 4% reflection. Most of you probably all know what reflection tokens are. So that's basically on the trade of the token, we've got 4% of the trade gets distributed by the smart contract automatically in ETH to people's wallets. We've got another, which is that reflections bit there. And then you see that the next box down there is 4% goes to an investment fund. So we've got $100,000 currently, which is being invested via these automated asset trading bots by Sandrock. So they've got our money, and they are investing right now. And at the end of every month, we declare how much profit we've made from the bots that do their thing, and I'm happy to drill into a bit more on how they work later on. At the end of May, the bots were, which was the end of our first month, because we only launched at the end of April. So at the end of May, we declared our first bot profit of £4,050, dollars, and that was airdropped out in ETH to all of our holders. And the third stream of income, which actually isn't on there because we actually got a new website which we're launching on Wednesday next week. Certainly Wednesday is the aim. Is a new product that we're launching, which is the second part of the business, which I was coming on to, which is what we're calling Adrenaline Investment Service. And this is really unique. It's completely new. We don't believe it's really ever been done in crypto before. And this is where there's no token involved and there's no smart contract. And this is the link to our real sort of TradFi space. So, you know, if we've got, you know, Harry on this call, or Elliot, Casper, Mario, or Dave, any of these guys that let's say you've got, I don't know, $100,000 in savings, and you want to put 10% of it in crypto, and you know, you think, well, where do I put my $10,000? How do I invest it in the crypto space? Well, we've got an investment fund that we've just launched, which we create you a sub fund. You give us the Ethereum or Bitcoin or stablecoin. We take multiple currency, and we apply, or Sandrock apply on our behalf, the Sandrock trading bots directly to your wealth. So it's not being traded on by other people. There's no graph. This is a kind of a real, like you get like for St James Place Bank, for those of you that know that in the UK. It's like a traditional investment fund. But we're lowering the barrier to entry. So for you know, people that are fortunate enough on this call to maybe have Swiss bank accounts and private bank accounts, you know, you'll know that the barrier that you know, you need about £250,000 or £100,000 to even get access to some of these complex financial institutions. So what we're providing in crypto is an opportunity for your everyday user with everyday amounts of money to be able to get access to these trading bots. And again, it's not on this website. Actually, I've got an investor deck that has the information, which will, with your permission, we'll post up later. But the Sandrock trading bots have got a track record over the past 12 months of delivering a 70% annual return on investment. So we're now in the process of contacting crypto businesses, real world institutions and companies and corporates. And we're going to be starting as of probably July. We're not marketing, but we're doing brand awareness on this new product. And the link to the token, the link to the first part of the token, is because we take commission. So let's say, Tobster, you kind of give us 10 ETH, and at the end of the first month, we say your 10 ETH is now 11 ETH from the work that our bots have done. And you say, right, well, thanks very much. I'm going to cash out. I'll take all that back. Thank you very much. We take 20% commission on that profit we make. So 20% commission on the one ETH profit. Yeah. Yeah. And that commission is split into two. Half of it goes to Sandrock, and that's how they get paid, because you know they're doing all the bot trading for us and they're providing all the investment service, and the other half goes into our graph and back to our holders. And so the token is always getting benefit from the token's always getting benefit from the profit we make on the oh, there you go, you got it up there, look, on the
yeah, it's quite for a white paper, so I haven't found myself being able to navigate as quickly as like an AMA, you know.
No, it's fine, and you know, it's kind of complex, but it isn't. But what one of the things we're going to be doing as we start getting nearer to July is producing a very short. I mean, we've got an investor deck, but it's still too long. So we're going to be creating a very short, sharp kind of flyer specifically for marketing and sales purposes, and that will be specific for that investment product, because the investment product is, there's no smart, you're not buying it through a smart contract. So you know, in terms of how we manage our internal processes and the visibility and the transparency and the end-to-end journey of someone that says, well, I've got some money, I think I want to send it to you, but how does it all work? You know, how do I pull my money back? You know, what's the safety of it all? And that's something which we're working through internally now, and we'll start in earnest in July, kind of starting to roll out. So you've got token with 3 streams of income, and then separately you've got this investment service, which you know, is going to be coming to the forefront of the business over the next you know, month or two.
Yep, it's a very thorough overview, I think.
Yeah, sorry.
No, it's all good. I think there's probably a lot to dive into and break down, isn't there, in terms of how things are performing, I guess. But let's start from the very beginning of the token. So we have.
I can just keep. I can rewind, sort of take it from the, because I know my roadmap well, or my white. If you want, I can just kind of take it back to the beginning and explain.
I think this is probably a good place to start, isn't it? With the direction of everything, the flow chart of how things are moving.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we wanted to create. I mean, I use the phrase non-zero sum kind of token because, like I said at the beginning, most tokens you kind of have to, sell your tokens to make your profit. So you're graph watching all the time, and don't get me wrong, people still graph watch. The price of our token is still relevant, of course, but the whole purpose of it was that people get this income if you're prepared to hold, and we're not a fast turnaround token. Although having said that, it wasn't really by design, but we've got a really high ratio of it's about 1 to 8 at the moment of liquidity to value. So the graph moves really fast in price. So people are trading it because it's not a stable price. If that makes sense. But
it comes with both good and bad, doesn't it? Having a stable price, too stable, and you've got no movement in the price.
Yeah, exactly. And it wasn't necessarily by design we did it that way, but it has kind of stood us in good stead because it's kept volume going. But we had but the intention was, if you're prepared to kind of just buy the tokens and hold, you're going to get the ETH reflections, which of course are very much volume dependent, and volume with most crypto projects at the moment is pretty poo, because obviously the market's in a bit of an odd place. And
back up with your
and at the end of the month you get your dividends, and then this third income stream is going to come as soon as we launch this AIS product. So for those that are prepared to kind of just hold you're going to get ETH reflections. And we didn't want to do wallet connects and dApps. That was kind of against the principle of the project, because it's unsafe wallet connections and all that kind of stuff. So you literally don't have to do anything. It's all just directly airdropped to you. We had and it's quite interesting actually how the smart contract works for the reflections, because we had it purposely kind of built specifically for Adrenaline. And what it does is it collects tokens obviously from the 4% tax, and then when the contract recognizes it's earned, as it were, 0.3 ETH worth of tokens, it then sells them on the back of someone selling. So it doesn't sell them on a buyer, but it sells them on a seller. And the gas is, it was purposely designed to have cheap gas. So some of the sells have been about $15 to sell whatever tokens someone wants to sell. And it doesn't add any more gas cost. It just piggybacks straight off someone's sell and then distributes that 0.3 ETH to people in the, going down on the Etherscan holder list. And then when it runs out of 0.3 ETH, it stops. And then it collects more tokens until it gets to 0.3 ETH, sells them, remembers where it left off, gives that ETH to the next set of holders in the list, and it just cycles through Etherscan, just constantly kind of giving out ETH.
That's clever.
Yeah, and then we kind of, we've got a little bit lucky. I say that, I mean, hopefully people just agree we've got a good product, but we got approached by Cult DYOR, and they were fortunate enough to kind of partner with us. We had to go through a strict interview process, and they did all their due diligence on us, which has kind of been helpful for us for AIS, because when you have people like the Cult, and we're actually talking to a major group, much bigger than them, on tomorrow afternoon, which I'm really excited about. Don't necessarily expect much to come from it because they're way too big for us really, as still a micro cap. But we've got some, 1 or 2 kind of big groups that are talking to us, and certainly people knowing that we've had the Cult back us and partner with us.
Do you mind if I just stop you a minute? And what we'll do, we'll come to this the Cult partnership and potential partnerships as well in a little bit, if that's all right. We'll just come back down to a bit more about the utility of your token, and then we'll break down them partnerships and explore them, if that's okay.
Yeah, go
on. So how have you any idea how much reflections you've handed out so far to now? Do you have a back-end dashboard or anything?
Yeah, well, we've got one producing. So the new website on Wednesday is going to do exactly that. It's going to have a dashboard on it, and it will have all the statistics for the whole project, and it'll also have a little box where you can put your own wallet in, and it will return the specific reflections that you as an individual has received. I mean, it's pretty easy to find that out from Etherscan, but not everyone wants to kind of go into Etherscan and do all the bits and pieces. So, so do you know what? I actually don't know how much has been out. I know that at one point it was 34 ETH that we sent out at one point, but I don't know what the figure is currently. That was probably about 2 weeks ago. We worked it out.
Yeah, no problem.
But I know we've had about $1.2 million in volume.
So yeah, so it's roughly 4% of that, isn't it? Thereabouts.
Yeah,
it's the same on the buys and sells, isn't it?
Yeah.
Cool. So is it 12% in and 12% out?
Yeah, correct.
For a buyer seller, yeah. Okay, cool. Let's talk a little bit about this investment fund then, because this is at the minute this is one of your standout points, isn't it? I guess until the investment, the other investment feature comes along.
Correct. Yeah, correct. So we have a qualification period, so which starts tomorrow. No, it doesn't. I'm sorry. It starts on the 18th. So anyone that wishes to buy now, on the 18th of June is when we start the qualification period. So if you sell, well, you're allowed to sell, but by the end of the qualification period, which is the end of June, so you've got 2 weeks, we take an Etherscan snapshot on the 18th, and then at the end of the month, we take another Etherscan snapshot, and only people who have the same number of tokens or more are eligible for the dividend. That's kind of how we work. So you can still sell them all, so you've got to buy them back again before the end of the month, because you know you can still trade in between, but you just have to have the same number or more by the end of the month. And what I wanted to do, because you know reflection tokens and tokens in general, they're all the same. What happens is people kind of look at the token and go, well, you know, I missed the boat, you know, it's gone times whatever it is from launch, you know, what kind of reflections am I going to get as a small fish now joining the project? So what we did was we introduced a square root system. So when we give out the dividends, we take the square root of the person's holding, and what it does that is flattens the distribution profile. So if you hold a bigger bag, then yes, you're going to get more than the person below you. But by taking the square root of everybody's holding number of tokens, what that does is it means that the people who have a small number of tokens get more in proportion.
Okay, yeah, that's interesting.
The largest holders. Yeah, so what it means is, you know, in another 3 months' time, when we're still going and we've got, you know, poor old Tom that comes around with his $200 and says, "Well, I ain't going to be getting any reflections, am I?" Well, yeah, you will, because by square rooting everyone, we're not just giving 90% of the reflection, of the dividends to the top 5 wallets or whatever it might be. It really flattens it out, and that the dividend we gave at the end of May was really, I got loads of kind of messages from people who had small holdings thinking, you know, I mean, it didn't, you know, no one was driving Ferraris the next day. Don't get me wrong, it was only 4,000 split between everyone. But, you know, as the investment fund grows, then, yeah, it's going to start to become, you know, hopefully significant, and it'll be another form of income for people. Yeah,
that's nice. We obviously have quite a lot of reflection tokens come through the lounge this last year. But there's very few try to come up with a concept that makes it appetizing for the late holders to come into the game, but that's really interesting. I've never seen that done before.
We'd fail, wouldn't we? I think we'd fail if we don't look forward at new people coming in. You know, it kind of won't work. But you know, and reflections will turn off at one point. I mean, the intention is that by having, you know, we've got a very high tax of 12% in, 12% out. You know, reflections are a kind of a short-term reward. The dividends at the end of the month are kind of a medium-term reward. And obviously, in the future, once we really get all the income streams fully up and running, and we're in the swing of things, then you know you're hovering over the taxless token there. Well, I mean that's kind of phase 4 plus, but certainly we'll be reducing the tax.
Is that your overall aim? Is to reduce this to 0% everywhere?
No, you know, it's a bit misleading that. You know, the path from A to B is never a straight line in crypto. It's wiggly because you've got to pivot and adapt on stuff. Certainly to reduce it. Certainly to get onto some of the major exchanges. You know, they're not going to be putting up with high tax. And certainly as we start to try to we'll be waiting for the next bull run. Nothing's going to be happening now, obviously, with the price of ETH and BNB, as we were joking about at the start of this, is going to happen. But certainly, and I'm putting the cart before the horse. We have, we'll be looking to move it to a much lower tax, but not taxless.
Okay. So I'm going to come back to this investment fund again. You mentioned that it was 18th of June is the next snapshot of holders, right?
Yep.
And then it's 2 weeks until the payouts. Does that happen every 2 weeks then?
Well, the payouts every month, so it's kind of payday on the first of every month. So the bots this month are on track for around about 5% return, which is the last update I had from Sandrock a couple of days ago. The first snapshot will be on the 18th, and as soon as that snapshot's taken, I pin the message, and and we just do a compare and contrast against the end of month snapshot, and anyone that still holds the same number of tokens or more qualifies for a share of the dividend payout.
So what will happen on so you mentioned that the first of the month will be the payout. What happens at the 1st to the 18th of July then?
Nothing. You people are just free to buy, sell, do what they want.
Okay,
there's no
that's interesting.
Yeah, so the qualification period is just that 2 weeks. Okay,
that's cool. So let's talk about. So you've had one payout on it, right?
That's right. End of May.
$4,050 profit.
Yeah, and I think that was based on 17 ETH of investment. Well, no, it wasn't, because what we do is we drip feed Sandrock, because obviously we get the ETH from token tax, right, as it says there. So we kind of, every time we get a reasonable size of ETH, we kind of just send it off to Sandrock and they just add it to the pot. On average it was lower, but obviously this month we've got 23 ETH now. I think we had 17, it's now 23. So yeah, it's a bit bigger this month.
And so when you mentioned that 100,000 investment fund earlier, is not all of that being traded then at the minute?
Well, no, so it is. So what we had was when we started the program, Sandrock gifted us 100,000 to start. So we started off with 100,000, and then
as partnership.
yeah. Well, they're doing very well. So as we contribute money in, the figure stays at 100,000. So it was a bit of a kickstart until we've effectively kind of paid off, I suppose, 100,000, and then from that point onward, the figure goes up. But the intention is, as soon as we hit the 100,000 mark of sales, we will be increasing the types of investment we do. So at the moment, we're on a kind of medium risk profile, but we're going to be moving. We're looking at the moment into ways to dealing commodity trading, Pax Gold, and moving into some slightly different types of investing.
Okay, and I'm presuming that you're in consultation with James about that quite a lot, about where your investments are going.
Yeah, but I kind of leave that to him to some extent, because he's been using these bots way before Adrenaline came, and we're lucky to have that partnership. And I'm a shareholder of Sandrock too. So between the two of us, I kind of let him do he's the professional investor, him and a couple of guys that work with him. So I kind of stay out of his way on that one. Yeah,
too many cooks and all that. So what's it at the minute? What kind of things is it trading?
Well, so
we talked about being in a medium risk profile, right?
Yeah, so we did some kind of ETH versus, we got Litecoin, because the basic principle is the more you do, let's take a real straightforward pair of ETH versus Bitcoin. So for those of you that don't know how bots work, what effectively you do is we provide Sandrock ETH, but what Sandrock have to do is effectively sell that ETH or some of it to buy other currencies. So the low risk stuff would be you buy the top blue chip stuff. So let's take Bitcoin as an obvious example. So we've got a number of different bots, or they have got a number of different bots. So you take ETH versus Bitcoin. So you own some Bitcoin, you own some ETH, and then you set the levels, your stop losses and your ups and your downs, and then you set the bots going, and those just take minute trades and it's quite mesmerizing watching all the little numbers come in as you see it doing little micro trades. But obviously the volatility between ETH and Bitcoin is low, or it's kind of high, I guess, at the moment. But the volatility technically is low, and so the profits on doing an ETH versus Bitcoin type trades, they're not bad. They never lose. So you but the higher risk type stuff would be where you chose let's take Cult, for example. You could do Cult versus Solana, or Cult versus ETH, or Cult versus whatever you want. And obviously you're choosing therefore a more volatile cryptocurrency. Therefore the scope for the bots to make profits are higher, but the risk is higher because you physically own Cult, in the same way you could physically own any crypto. And so the job of Sandrock is to do a series of analysis on what the best trades are to purchase, have most of it in the low risk, but then you cherry pick and you choose some of the kind of more volatile cryptos. And I know it sounds a bit obvious, but their job is to make sure that they're buying cryptos that are low, that have got the biggest chance of success, which is what we all try and do on a day-to-day basis, isn't it, when we're dealing in crypto? But
yeah, not very well in my case.
Arguably that they're better at it than most people. That's certainly the hope, isn't it?
Yeah. That's interesting. So we talk about this airdrop. You mentioned that the airdrop was in ETH, didn't you?
That's right. Well, it isn't at the moment, but we have actually had calls for it being stable. Yeah.
I'm going to say, like, I mean, I don't know how much that cost you to airdrop all the holders, but I guess it's cheaper with a multi-send or something, or a multi-call, but.
Well, it was built into our contract.
Okay.
And this is where I'll probably use all the wrong terms because I'm not a technical guy. I'm kind of the owner guy. But we had some functions built into, because we've actually got two smart contracts. When we deployed it, we've got the main contract, but then we've got what's called a dividend contract. So when you own Adrenaline, you actually end up with two tokens in your wallet, and you might have seen these kind of things before.
Dividend tracker,
so the second contract manages the dividend tracker, and so. So excuse me. So we are able to provide dividends in dividends and no, not reflections. We are able to provide dividends, in different currencies. Sorry, I was getting myself confused. So it hasn't got anything to do with the main contract, but there was a function there was a function built into the dividend contract where we're able to. We don't need to use bulk sender. We can just put in an Excel file with just two simple columns, what wallets, what amount, and it all sends it out for us.
Okay.
And so the gas fee's really low for tokens, but it is higher for ETH. I don't know what I'm trying to remember what the figure was for the ETH we sent out for that 4,000. I think it cost a couple of $100.
Yeah.
It's not free.
No. Yeah. I'm just like there's obviously cheaper chains out there, isn't there? And I was just thinking, like, maybe it was a solution for you to give out the rewards on a different chain, because effectively let's say it was $200. What's that? Excuse my maths now, but that's like
15 BNB, isn't it?
Yeah. So like, it's it's a saving that can be passed on or used somewhere else.
Yeah, it's something, if I'm honest, we hadn't thought about. I think that there's been a call, particularly with the ETH price dropping, like everything else, for people kind of crying out for USDC or some sort of stable variant. So, that might have the same fees, but yeah, I take your point that we can easily. It's within our gift to provide any currency that the community want. Now, we don't have a voting structure that's kind of safe and secure, because we don't do wallet connects and all that kind of stuff, but it's definitely something which we're paying attention to. And in the kind of for the end of May, I don't know whether we'll be in time to organize it, but certainly we would like to get to a position. It's not on the roadmap, but certainly is a bit of an extra benefit. It would be great if we could give the community an option to vote for what they receive every month.
The option's there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's because it's manual at the end of the day. It's the Sandrock return us at the end of every month the profit that the bots have made. That sits in a wallet that belongs to the company, and we just do as you say. We use one of the bulks. We use the bulk send function of the contract to send it out, but we can easily do it in different currencies.
So just on that note of it being a manual process and stuff, so we know what's happening here is decentralized at the minute. So there's some things that people don't see, but what are the tax implications with the investment fund and obviously the later investments that's coming? I forgot what you call it, investment as a service, isn't it?
Yeah, well, there's no tax on the there's no tax on the dividend, and the team are excluded from it. So yeah, so it's there's no tax. It's all just, there's no commission, there's no anything, that just goes straight to holders.
Yeah, sorry, I probably misunderstood the question there, but I'm guessing if this money is coming out of I don't know how did you say BlackRock? I don't know how they handle
Sandrock.
their things. Is that sorry? Yeah, Sandrock. Is that a is that decentralized, or is that, you know?
Well, no. So Adrenaline is owned by an offshore company called Telescope Holdings Limited. Telescope Holdings Corporation, and that's a company based in the Caribbean. And to protect our team and to protect the holders, we purposely set up an offshore location for the company. So all of the finances, all of the wallets, all of the crypto is all owned by Adrenaline. And what Sandrock do is they link into our corporate account via API. So Sandrock provide the bot service via API into our account. So Sandrock, so all the finances are held by, you know, by me and my accounts.
That's cool.
Yeah, and that's how we manage the kind of legality and regulatory side of things. But we have recently, not to kind of, you know, throw another thing in, but we've had it was actually 2 weeks ago we had the meetings, but we haven't kind of pressed the button because we haven't seen the need yet. But we've got partnerships with 2 FCA regulated excuse me, FCA regulated, one's a crypto regulated company with 1.2 billion in assets, and the other one is a fiat based hedge fund. The first one is a hedge fund, it's an investment fund, and so we've got agreement from both of those to be to sort of, I don't want to use, it's not a partnership, I'm trying to think of the right word, but basically just use each other's services effectively and kind of be on their books. So if we want to at any particular time move into taking fiat, which is something that certainly Sandrock are looking into, and we're you know, Adrenaline is well tied into Sandrock, so how the relationship will work moving forward, but certainly in the near distant future, Sandrock will have its own link to an FCA regulated investment house, and it's TBC how and where Adrenaline will fit in with that. But certainly anything that the whole reason why we linked with Sandrock, and I'm obviously a 50% partner in Sandrock, is because we're building up the functionality and the business of Sandrock, and anything that's crypto related that's not NFT, because we're building our own NFT incubator for Sandrock, which is, you know, part of a separate discussion. But certainly from the point of view of the AIS, the whole reason we're building that under Adrenaline is because for now we want anything that's crypto related has to be under to be under the Adrenaline program and its offshore location. And so Sandrock will be forming business relationships with various customers, real world customers. It might be some customers might own, you know, ETH and Bitcoin, but they've got no interest at all in my token. They don't want to drill down into the deep, dirty part of DeFi. It's just not interested in them. And to be honest, I kind of wouldn't blame them. But, you know, these are people that might have, say, you know, 100, 200,000 pounds that they're willing to put into, these investment firms in Switzerland, where you might get 10-20% return on investment. I've got loads of friends and family that kind of have that structure, that are using those kind of private banking Geneva-based accounts and so forth. But, you know, once we're able to show and prove that the proof of concept for AIS works, which is what we're moving into, we're calling it a proof of concept to make sure that our internal processes work and that the process is transparent and all those other good words, then, you know, Sandrock will be a big feed of clients into the token, into the service. And then that service in turn will provide permission back into the token.
Awesome. That's a good breakdown. Mark, have you got any questions up at this point?
I'm just trying to understand with the latest one that's in development as well at the moment. You said it's proof of concept. I'm just trying to understand how many people will go through you versus who will go directly via Sandrock, and at what level. You explained that if you've got a big amount of money, then you can go direct, but if not, then come through you guys, and you can split it down and combine it all together. So what level do you see it being at?
Yeah, well, it's a really good question. The honest answer is I'm not really sure. I mean, Sandrock is not. It's not two services. There's only one service that will be able to take the ETH, and that's us. So what I'm saying is, any let's say company that comes to Sandrock and they say, hey, we've got some money, we want to chuck it at you. They'll say, that's great. We'll give that to Adrenaline, because they're the third party that we use that are partnered with Sandrock to do that thing. So it's not Sandrock or us. It is us. Sandrock can't do it because it's crypto. They can do FTSE trade tracker, they can do commodity trading, they're regulated, but they can't do crypto because of the FCA rules, which is why it's been set up in the way it is, and Adrenaline is the service to provide that. But as I said, we're creating links and ties at the moment to some FCA regulated hedge funds so that we can also crypto related hedge funds. So if we wanted to, we can also put people down that road, but we're not ready to sort of discuss that yet, as much as we've kind of put the kind of chips in place. But the other part of your question there was around, well, I think I'm paraphrasing, but it's kind of who's the kind of people that would come to us. I mean, and this is a real pickle for us, because we're about to be in a position where we've got this potentially great product, and it's going to be, you know, we've got loads of, I'll exaggerate, we've got 5 people or groups that are currently in DMs with me at the moment saying, well, I've got some money, tempted, but, you know, no one put their money where their mouth is yet, partly because we're not ready to take it. But it's how we market it and who do we take on. We've got loads of individual people, but the proof of concept, we're not taking individuals, we're only taking groups of people. So what we're going to be doing over the next 2 weeks is approaching successful, let's take Cult again, I don't know, just as an example. We're going to say, right, if you have a treasury, if you've got investment fund, you know, you've got your own token and it's got taxation on it, and that taxation is, you've got this big story of ETH, and you know, you're not doing anything with it, well, that's silly, give it to us and let us invest it. So we're going to be kind of, it's going to be a pull for a while. It's going to be us going out there trying to find clients and saying, this is what we can do for you, you know, are you interested? And then hopefully over time it'll be a push instead of a pull, where people are coming to us. But we've got to break. It's going to take time. It's a process where you know, we can't. You know, I want to lift us out of DeFi is really where I want this whole thing to go, because whilst we're in the kind of low market cap, we're unknown. You know, I mean, and don't get me wrong, this is crypto. It could all fail and we fall flat on our ass and it doesn't work. This is one of the joys of waking up in the morning and going, right, how's crypto going today? But if everything goes to our plan and our vision and our roadmap and, you know, my project plan, then, you know, we will eventually be able to take fiat directly from Sandrock, and we can convert it into crypto ourselves and invest it and then return it in fiat. But that's cart before the horse. But it's the stages to get to that. And that roadmap is kind of old now. It'll be a new one, and then it doesn't really tell any of this story. It's all kind of a little bit new. So but you know, I think we'll start by approaching crypto projects that have funds that they're not doing anything with, and then over time, and I'm talking about probably from November onward, it's a few months away, Sandrock will be in a position to take on clients. And as soon as Sandrock are approaching corporations, rather than me contacting random crypto projects that might have ETH that they want to give us, then those corporations are what we really want to go for, because we're really looking for the companies that want to get in crypto but aren't in crypto and don't know how to get in crypto. And that and the route to make us really in the multi-million market cap kind of route is going to be when we approach, when we get noticed and we get, you know, we're taking chunky amounts of money from proper corporations. But you know, I'm being quite honest, how we go about doing that, it's a little bit of luck and it's a little bit of judgment and it's a little bit of forging relationships. I mean, James has got a lot of ties to some big firms in the UK, but certainly it's going to be it's going to be a journey that we slowly take, because we don't want to rush it. But you know, the foundations are there, and that's where we are right now. We're coming to you with, we've got foundations. This is the direction we're heading in. We think we know what we're doing, but a bit like getting the Cult partnership. You know, they believe in the product. They know this vision. They've known it for a few weeks. You know, but they think there's something special here. And if we can get more attention from other groups, just like Cult, and having the Cult is a great start for us, then yeah, it will snowball and it will work. But it's getting traction, like everything in life, like every project and company that's young and entrepreneurial, it's getting that traction.
Just to expand on that point as well, when did you plan on offering the IAAS to individuals? For example, if I came to you.
Well, so the idea of the AIS is you've got one main chunky fund, which anyone can come to with 50 quid and say, I want to put it in the big pot. And you don't get any say on what we invest. It's a pot, right? And at the end, and you get one entry at the start of the month and an exit option at the end of the month. So your ability to take money out is locked for a month. And we're doing that because some of our processes, until we get really high technical, is still quite manual in the background. And so we don't want to complicate the mathematics by saying, you know, Toby's put money in here, Mike put money in here, Mark put money in there. So, the ability for an individual to put money in will be after proof of concept, probably around August, September time. Now, that will be in the main pot. What we are able to do is create up to, you know, a huge number of sub funds. So when people, which and I guess there might be some individuals that we create this bespoke service for, but certainly for let's take I don't know, name me a big project you like. Give me a name of the token that's big.
We're talking blue chip.
Who'd you like? Yeah, no, just give me a project you like.
Let's go with Blockstar. Don't plug him anymore. Let's go with BNB. Do you mean that, or do you mean like a really DeFi kind of?
No,
project?
DeFi.
Well, let's go with Colt, because we'll come on to them in a minute and talk about your partnership.
All right. So Colt come to us and they say, right, we've got 100 ETH. So we'll create them an actual sub fund. So it's their own fund. The only money in that fund is theirs. Sandrock apply the bots via API, and that's it. The magic's working. And then they can take their money out whenever they want, because it's their fund, right? They can choose, depending on whether there are going to be a few things which currently aren't in the pack, and it's kind of like, you know, out of proof of concept, we're going to change it probably. So certain types of customer, if they want to hold a serious amount, they have to own a certain number of tokens as well and do a buyback and burn. And this is, again, my way of just making the link back to the token, so that the token always is having some major success off the back of AIS. So they'll have their own sub fund. They'll be able to therefore get their own dashboard off the back of it, because Binance is one example of who we've got a corporate account with. You know, it comes with obviously all the kind of profits you've made today, the week, month, what we've traded, you know, all that kind of stuff is there and available for that particular customer. But there will be, other than these sub funds, there will be a main one that over time people can just kind of contribute their amount to, but it will have a more stringent entry and exit points. Okay,
cool. Do you want to bring up anything else on that, Mark? On the main utility?
Yeah, just wanted to follow up on that point in terms of, you know, like big clients coming to you with a decent amount of money and stuff, and trying to understand why they would choose you and Sandrock for that. You mentioned about Sandrock's performance in terms of 70% annual returns. How does that compare to your competitors?
Well, there aren't really many people that currently have that DeFi TradFi relationship. The options are, as I mentioned a minute ago, there is that FCA, regulated crypto hedge fund stroke investment firm. I mean, they take 30% commission. We're only taking 20% commission, and they're down 30% this month. This year, in terms of looking at their statistics, and they do bot trading. It's a similar thing. FCA regulated. It's a little bit more tricky what they're able to do. Obviously, it comes with a huge safety net, being FCA regulated. And so what we have to prove is that, and we're transparent. I mean, the new deck we're producing gives a full breakthrough of exactly what the end-to-end customer flow is, and what we do, and what you see, and what the risks are, because there are real risks. I mean, at the end of the day, we have ETH in and ETH out. So we will make sure that you get more ETH out than you've put in. So you give us 100 ETH, we'll bring you back more than 100 ETH. But the price of ETH, if it goes down, then your whole portfolio is of lesser value, because what we can't be responsible for and what we can't do is, be responsible for the price of the underlying assets kind of go up and down. And so, these are all the kind of things that will make sure that are very transparent and honest. And of course, during the downturn right now, we haven't really been in a rush to roll it out. We haven't been in a rush to take anyone's money, because at the end of the day, best thing to do in some respects is to stable it and wait until you believe it's the bottom, and then buy back in and kind of increase your portfolio that way. But certainly as we start to steady state and look up, it's going to be a lot more attractive a proposition. But the key thing for us, and the key advertising point, is that the bots work. They haven't had a month of loss. Our first month of trading was, I can't remember now, was it 7% in May? You can see, actually, sorry, I've just seen the screen there where you've kind of got the previous months for the last 12 months performance. And so if you're giving us ETH in at the end of the year, you'll have 70% more ETH. And that's the mandate. That's the service. It's, you give us ETH, we buy bot trading, and you'll have more ETH, with the usual disclaimers and caveats. But yeah, and it's a really unique proposition. And I think a lot of people like the idea of not having the graph, not having the trading that people are going to be, people aren't trading on you. It's your money, it's your wealth. We're just providing you with a decentralized way to have access to advanced commercial level investing that is normally only available to traditional finance when you've got over $100,000 or $250,000, whichever the investment is. So we kind of, that's what not to keep throwing cult in, sorry, but that was one of the things that kind of caught their attention, was that that's how our contribution to decentralization. We're not a tech company. Our smart contracts, there's quite a bit of manual process in all this stuff, but the decentralized part is that we're I've worked for banks for 20 years. A lot of it's been with Lloyds Banking Group, for those of you that know Lloyds Banking Group, and they've got 65,000 employees just in the UK alone. They're monolithic, and they cannot adapt, pivot, and change to the changing times. And what we're providing is a means for your average Joe to be able to have access to really advanced trading bots, which is our contribution to decentralization.
Yeah, it's in regards to me, it's probably someone else. Probably better somebody else trades my trade money rather than myself, as I found out this month.
Well, I'm sat here explaining all this stuff to you, but let me tell you, I've lost a ton of money. When I first joined crypto, it was kind of just getting rug pulled, getting, just bad, making terrible decisions. And, I'll be honest, I think if someone back in, at the start of my crypto trading career or whatever had said to me, yeah, Kris, give us your ETH instead, and we'll give you 70% return on the year, I'd be like, no, bugger off, mate. I can make that in 20 minutes on a trade. And then of course ended up losing all my money because I couldn't make it. I actually ended up buying a load of rubbish, which I thought was good sense. So, and this is kind of one of the reasons why I started making my own tokens with an investment theme, was because, and I'm not sat in the driving seat here saying I'm the investment specialist and I know how to invest your money. I got Sandrock to do that for me. I don't need it. But what I'm trying to do is just kind of provide people another option, which, there are a lot of mature traders out there that are prepared to just sit and go back to their families and take up their hobbies again and just lock away their money and just let the bots do the work.
Yes, these kind of numbers that are here, they're nice. Good returns, aren't they? It's one part of what we're doing, but it's a nice, and we're not really necessarily, targeting. Don't get me wrong. It'd be lovely for people to buy the token, but as I say, there's a huge proportion of people out there that hold ETH and Bitcoin, and they're not interested in. They don't even know how to go on Uniswap. Probably don't know what it is. They just hold stores of wealth in ETH, and that's who we're going after. That's the next step. The mainstream kind of people are not in deep,
and our token will get the benefits of it because they're taking
Just give us that breakdown again of that. Sorry, so it was 20% commission based on whatever profit they earn, and what was happening with that 20%?
So it's actually, so it's 2% in. So as soon as you give us the money, we take 2%.
Yeah.
And that 2% goes, oh goodness me, I can't remember what I wrote now. That 2% goes into a buyback and burn of the token.
Yeah.
So that's like our annual, that's like our management fee. So it's just a one-off 2%. It's not much, but 2% of what's given to us instantly gets taken away, and we buy back and burn. And then the 20% gets split 15% to Sandrock and 5% back into the token stroke holders. And this is where, being in proof of concept, I haven't decided yet whether that 5% goes into a buyback or whether that 5% goes as ETH airdrops to holders. I haven't yet decided how I'm going to do it, but either way, it'll go back to the project.
Interesting, yeah. You got anything else on that, Mark, before we move on a little bit? I'm just getting on a little bit.
Yeah, I think I don't know if you've covered it already, but when I was reading the white paper, there was something about having to hold minimum amount of tokens to qualify.
Yeah, so this is where having a website, a white paper, and investor deck get out of sync. So originally that was what I was going to do. There wasn't an annual management fee as shown on that little screen there. It was going to be, if you some sort of ratio. So if you want to give us 10 grand, then you have to hold so many tokens. But actually I wanted to divorce the two, because to our point, we were just saying it a moment ago, where we want to take institutional investors and rich men and women who have stores of ETH but have no interest in Uniswap and DeFi tokens. If I made them hold tokens to invest in the service, the whole thing would fall apart, because they wouldn't care about the token necessarily. Not everyone wants to care about the token. So I had to make AIS a completely independent project. Well, it's part of Adrenaline, but I had to make an independent thing, but allow some of the profits that generates to feed the token.
Okay.
So that is. I mean, we're in proof of concept. It may change my mind again, but at the moment, there's not going to be a requirement to hold tokens.
Okay.
Yeah, great. All right, let's just expand a little bit on. I know time's getting on. We've been here an hour already, but I guess there's a lot to delve into and a lot to cover.
Sorry, guys.
But let's delve into these partnerships. There's quite a few of us familiar with it in here. What have you done with that investment? You said you were successful, didn't you?
Yeah. So the ETH went to Cult. The way it works is Cult gave our Guardian the Cult tokens. The Guardian sold those Cult tokens, and it came to 13.5 ETH. They're actually in talks with us at the moment about a further 13.5 ETH, and we've got that conversation next week. And at the moment, I think they've put in 10 ETH of that 13.5, so they've got another 3.5 ETH to put into the graph. But that's not me; it didn't come to me. It's the Guardian himself who is doing that. He's got his own wallet. Obviously, it's not something I have access to, but I'm in communication with him, and he's particularly given obviously the state of the market, he's been DCAing as the price of the we've had decent volume in the graph, but obviously the price of ETH has been dropping, so he didn't lump it in all at once and was very sensible and is buying at different price points.
Okay. And that's gone into your chart, has it? It hasn't gone into your trading fund or anything like that? Does it have to go into your chart?
Well, he could have put in there. That option was there. Well, no, that option wasn't really there, because the fund is just from the token tax, so there's no direct way in at the moment. So no, it was fair market purchase.
It'd be interesting to see if you could get them on board with the IAAS when that comes along.
Yeah, it will be. It will be. It's yeah, it will.
So we've got a solid partnership with Sandrock. You've got Colt involved. Is there anything else? We mentioned a couple of other potential players, haven't we?
Yeah, well, we have. I mean, yeah. If I'm honest, on the past project I was in, we were kind of bitten quite heavily with kind of. I mean, my approach to projects were just come and talk to us. I held loads of AMAs because, I mean, partly because you can tell I love talking, and my idea of growth wasn't through. I hate spending money on influencers. It just drives me nuts. My way of expanding was very organic. It was just, I don't know who you are, but as long as you show me your passport and I know that you're doxed, then come in and we'll crash our communities together. Your project might like the sound of ours like the sound of yours, and if some of us get some buyers, then great. It was just a way of organic growth through collaboration, and if it turned out there was some actual synergy between the two, then great, we might forge a partnership. And that's happened with me recently on a couple. But so we've got a couple of groups we're working with, but we're being very careful with partnerships because it can so easily become a bit awkward in the crypto space. So the only projects we're going to be partnering with in the future are ones who have a kind of provide a real service to us, or we provide a real service to them. And but there's a couple of projects we're working with.
All right, let's just I don't know where to start with this. Let's delve into your tokenomics. So this was your original setup when you launched, right?
And it's the same. So I can make this really quick for you because I know that because you've all been on a long time. So the 100% of our tokens are in supply. We were fair launch. The team fair launch, and the team owned those two right-hand circles. So the team owned both those 20% wallets. If you go in Etherscan right now, you'll see. Oh, there you go. It's already
the top two.
We're the top two. So the idea was that we get the reflections from those two wallets, which feeds a buyback wallet, and we've got a whole store. We've got a store of ETH ready to stabilize the liquidity when we're ready to. When we get to out of this bear market, and then the other wallet is how we make money as a team. So we take 2% of the tax, and we take the reflections on one of those wallets. But that we kind of, it's a gentleman's promise. We will never sell those tokens. They are not sellable. They are sellable because the idea was originally to lock them in Unicrypt or whatever it is. But we found out. We found out as we went to do it. Someone, my dad went, you're not going to be able to do that. So what we've had to do is just say they're there for reflection purposes only, and we're not selling them.
Okay. There might be something that you can utilize in the future that might be able to help you with that.
We've always said if anyone's got any fancy pants ideas, then we're open to it because we're happy to lock them. We just haven't come across a facility yet. There's a couple of companies that said they can develop something, but it all just seems a little bit too hard work, really. So for now, it's
So how come these are slightly bigger than 10%? Is that it's not native reflection? Was it? Was ETH reflection?
Yeah, it was ETH, but it was because we've been some of the ETH we get from the reflections. We bought tokens, so that's 7. Okay. Because one of the wallet, of course, is a buyback wallet. So and then we use the tokens we get to add to the liquidity pool, which is why there's sometimes a big store of tokens. Sometimes the tokens disappear because we add them to liquidity alongside ETH to stabilize the liquidity.
So number 4 downwards, they're all holders. Is that right?
That's correct.
Yeah. Okay. This is a big holder.
Yeah, we think we know who it is, but we're not sure. Okay. They kept buying on launch day and a couple of days afterwards, and we don't know who that holder is.
Okay, no problem.
Well, we do, but we won't admit it.
I haven't looked for any of the transactions or anything, but this is just one to be aware of in my opinion.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, you're quite right.
Look, so let me just have a quick talk through of your chart if I've still got it up. So it's not doing too bad really considering the market, is it? You've launched, had a sell off, and then you've had a big bump here.
The big spike was on speculation of I mean, no one really knew it was called AIS at the time, but that was partly on cult, and it was partly on speculation over the third income stream we've got coming. Because to have 3 income streams was pretty cool, so that kind of got people a bit excited. Yeah,
other than that, I don't think there's really anything to mention. I mean, what were you off about 4x off all-time high at the minute. So good entry price, really. Not sure there's anything else to mention on there. Speculation drives the market. We all know that. Yeah. So, Mark, have you got anything to bring up at this point?
No.
I guess it's a good run through of everything, really. Lots about the utility and stuff. There's lots to come. What are you guys? I know you mentioned it. In terms of marketing, you try to keep it very organic, which is not a bad thing. When it starts out.
Well, it's important though, because we've kind of, the onion, the sort of layers of an onion. We've exhausted our community, and so obviously we're very grateful for you guys to host us. So I think when the time is right, maybe in a week's time, 2 weeks' time, we'll hit the button on some marketing. But I mean, we're going to let the product speak for itself as it starts to roll out, and do some discreet stuff along the way. But I mean, it's I'm more brand awareness than marketing. I tend to shy. It kind of doesn't do myself any favors, really, not doing heavy marketing. But in the current market we're in, I think paying influencers, and there's just no point.
Yeah, I agree with that. There's a lot of wasted funds.
Yeah,
and I guess with you guys, it's going to talk for itself once you start.
It will.
Investments and stuff.
It will work, and people will just start buying it, or it won't work, and they won't.
Yeah, well, that's it. You got to take that shot, haven't you? So I guess if you've got time, we'll. I don't know if we've got any related questions in the text chat, Mark. I haven't been following, so.
No, I haven't seen any actual questions in the chat. So I'm sure some community members will have some on voice chat though. In
fact, let's do that in a minute if that's okay with you. What we'll do is
I don't want to take up any more of your time, but I'm at your disposal, so I'm happy to answer any questions people have.
That's good, man. So I mean, we've been known in the past to run through for a couple of hours, but for the sake of everyone listening, we try to keep it around about an hour. But some of the after AMAs go on. But yeah, so what we like to ask. I mean, have you got any closing statements that you'd like to say before?
No, I'm just very grateful to be here, and thanks to Legit Crypto for having me. But no closing statement for me. Just please invest with care, and I hope you're all your health, and hope you're all getting outside, getting fresh air, and taking things patiently, and no knee-jerk reactions in the market. Everyone stay safe and be calm.
Awesome. So before we finish the recording, I'll end the recording and then we'll take some questions after if you've got the time. But we like to ask one final question in Legit Crypto, and tells us a lot about vision and direction. Can do. So the question that we like to ask is, at which point does this project become a success to you?
Did it or will become?
That's up to you.
Oh. I'll tell you what, the answer to that is the day we launched, because let me tell you, I don't know how many people have launched a token on this call, but just getting to launch day is a major undertaking. So I think definitely launch day was when it went smoothly. That was, for me, it was plain. It's been plain sailing ever since that day. I haven't been more nervous, from that launch day when the liquidity goes.
Yeah, were you fully doxed at launch?
Yeah. I was publicly doxed and everything, but it's scary launching a project. This stuff doesn't faze me. What we're doing right now, I'm quite comfortable with it all. But because it was out of my control, maybe I'm a bit of a control freak. But launching the token and just watching the dev do his thing, and he did a great job. It all worked fine. But yeah, there's so many things can go wrong with smart contracts. It's still an immature, space really.
Who was your contract?
Sorry,
for the purpose of doing a contract.
Is he part
of the team?
No, he's not part of the team. We're still in touch with him, but he was contracted to produce the contract for us.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, that sums it up from me. Mark, I don't know if you've got anything closing to say, buddy.
Just one final question. I just wanted to ask: do you have in your head any targets? Do you have an end goal an
Mark
end
loves
game.
numbers.
It's not necessarily numbers. I like numbers, but I just wondered, when you created this, you know, what were your aspirations and where you wanted to take this, where you hoped it could get to?
Well, it sounds a bit cheesy, but it's the truth. I just want. I mean, I love it when people get ETH reflections, and like you say, loads of reflection tokens have come through your group. But I'm really glad we hit nearly 2 million market cap at the peak. But you know, a lot of projects, they go super high spike, and then you get stuck with a bunch of people that bought all at the top, and they're all grumpy now because they're down here. And I'm really glad that we didn't get that situation, and we tried to, you know, so I steady growth. I'm a patient guy. You know, I want it to, you know, I want everyone to do well, but I want to just see a nice steady 10% every month growth. Well, I mean, it'd be nice to have more than that, wouldn't it? But just a nice, whatever it is, nice steady growth, and keep that volume going, keep that graph on a, you know, turn it around. Obviously the price of ETH has been messing everything up, but keep it going up, and just want to make people, you know, not everyone's as old as me. I'm, you know, an older guy, and I've got family and I've got a house. But, you know, there are people who say, I've got another, you know, $50 reflection. For me, that's, you know, that's my shop this week, or whatever it is, my food. And that's what makes me happy, because it's not people selling tokens to get it. That's passive income. And it's, you know, I'm not going to say something silly like changing people's lives. You know, no one's making that much money from it at the moment. But, you know, over time, if we can make it work, the people that are earning the token, there's a salary for them there, and that's what's going to work for me because of my banking background. I want people to, you know, I don't know if it's the same in the States and where other people live. There was a time in the UK when the interest you got from your bank account, you know, it was a decent amount, you noticed it, but those days are gone. And so, you know, it's just nice to know that this is potentially a project where in future, once it's really embedded in, it's a little income for people.
Yeah, nice. Like it. Good answer.
Yeah, nice. Good for AMA, and thanks for taking the time to spend with us and answer some questions and that, Kris.
Yeah, it's nice to talk to you both. Cheers.